Very good morning, dear students. Today we will be starting our topic on classical mechanics, and it will be just the starting, or you can say the introduction of classical mechanics. We will be trying to discuss the topics related to degree of freedom, then the constraints, and we will see how constraints can be divided into different parts, different types like holonomic or non-holonomic constraints, and we will try to also see how degree of freedom work for different systems related to human body or in any moving body or moving object. So I'm just sharing the screen. I hope that you will uh, see the presentation here. Yes. Okay. So myself, Dr. Pradeep Sharma, I will be starting with this module 1 part 2, that is introduction to classical mechanics, and we'll try to understand the constraint motion, discrete and continuous systems, rigid and elastic bodies, and then degree of freedom. So one by one, we will be discussing this. Myself, Dr. Pradeep Kumar Sharma, from University of Engineering and Management. You kindly see the contact details here. In case of any problem, you can directly call me or WhatsApp me on this number or email, right? Otherwise, you can drop one message wherever the problem you feel like. So first we'll try to understand what is motion actually. So all of you know that the motion of an object is, you can say, related to the position where that object was earlier and where it is now after some time. But application of force need to be considered. So it is defined as the relative motion between the various parts of machine or positions. And each part of machine, when you say that okay, there are certain movement of any object, so that part of that object which moves relative to some other position or other part is known as kinematic link, or simply a link or an element. That object is said to be an element. And a link, because that element may consist of several parts which they are rigidly fastened together so that they do not move relative to one another. I must say like this. This one example I just want to show you. Suppose this is a ring here. I hope you are seeing it. There is a ring in this key. There is a key ring, and the key is available. Okay. So the movement, and you can see that this key is actually having two parts. One is this plastic coated under this silver, and another is this ring that is attached to this key, and it's a steel, iron, or any metal thing. Now this plastic and this steel key parts are fastened together so that wherever it moves, it goes in one part. Okay, so they do not move to each other. But this ring is such like this. You can see here that it is moving, and it is moving in a certain direction, right? But it is attached to this ring, and there is no movement as such other than this, that it goes away like cannot go away if I am keeping this ring here. So I cannot keep this key away, right? Because it is fixed over there. So a link may consist of several parts, which are rigidly fastened, or you can say loosely fastened, accordingly as per the system required. Now, for example, in a reciprocating steam engine, as we are showing you in this figure, all the piston, rod, crosshead constitute one link. And you can see over here this cylinder, piston rod, small end bearing, engine frame. This is the connecting rod, flywheel. All constitute links. Okay, but what is the you can say primary link or secondary link? So piston rod, and crosshead are the primary link, but connecting rod, okay, is the second link. Then crankshaft and flywheel, the third link, and the cylinder, engine frame, and main bearing is a fourth link. So accordingly, you can identify that from what part that force is being transferred initially, and up to what part, up to last part, the force is actually going, so that the movement of all these links, all these elements are available and you can say a possible. So this way we can identify the type of links depending upon its ends on which revolute joint can be placed for a pairing with others. So link can be classified into binary, ternary, or quaternary links, right? Now, what are binary links? If you can see here, these are having two joints, that is binary link, having three joints, that is ternary link, that is the revolute joints, and if we are having four revolute joints, then there will be quaternary links. So in the machine or in any object, these kind of links, these kind of joints are available, so that that particular object can move forward or can change its position on application of the force. The type of links, if we say in order to transfer the motion, the driver and the follower may be connected by the following three types of links. Rigid link, then there will be flexible link, and the fluid link. So one by one we will be seeing that whenever the object is there in a machine, or you can say a particular device, and we are providing the force from outside to a particular direction on that object, so how that can be effective. So the rigid link will be there, the flexible and the fluid link, according to the requirement of the system, according to the requirement of the motion. So first of all, we have to see rigid link. These are the links which does not undergo any deformation while transmitting motion, crankshaft or connecting. So you can understand over here this type of this. Piston is there, so glow plug, exhaust valve, exhaust port, connecting rod, crankshaft are available, so intake valve are all there, right? But these actually are not going for any deformation. Motion is transferred, and you can say the force being applied, but this connecting rod and the crankshaft are not deformed. Their shape is not changing, so these are rigid links, right? Then the second type of link is flexible. There we can see that partially deformation is available in a manner not to affect the transmission of the motion. You can see that like belts and ropes. So they are actually when available, so they are straight. But as soon as the force is being transformed, they actually changes their shapes. Also they are deformed, but the deformation is partial. It's not, you can say, the complete deformation is available. So you can say this side is loose. So the belt is available over here, and here it is circular. So here it's almost a straight line, the tight side. So it's straight, but again after moving this side, it is circular. So you can see that the belt itself is taking deformation, but it is the partial deformation. It is just not like that belt is being broken. So that we cannot consider over here. Okay, if the belt is working and in a proper sense, it is doing its job of transforming the force and providing the motion, then this is the flexible link we can consider. Now the fluid link. The fluid link actually refers to when we use fluid by using the pressure, and motion is transmitted through that, like hydraulic presses, jacks and brakes. So all of you know that this type of machines we have where the fluid is available and the pumps are there with a small cross section, and then we can transform this force, this small force, into a large force, bigger force. Okay, so that we can lift the heavy machines placed over here. That is the concept of hydraulic presses and hydraulic machines what we are using. So basically this fluid is actually working as you can see a motor, and whatsoever the force we are providing, the small force over here at the small cross-sectional area, this is available to the large cross-sectional area with the large application of that force. So this is the fluid link, and it works effectively. So after discussing the links, we have to understand what are actually the discrete and continuous systems. So I request all of you to kindly first of all see in your surroundings what are the machineries available with these type of links. I'm just again revising, and you can think of like what are the rigid links available on those machineries. You have to understand if there is no deformation while you are providing the force, and motion is available after providing the force. So if deformation is not there, so you can understand that the link is actually rigid. So you have to identify few machines in your surroundings. Then the flexible link. The flexible link is actually where the partial deformation is available, but it is not like that you can say the complete deformation being taken place at the time of application of the force, and the motion is being disrupted. Here you have to ensure that motion is available and deformation is partial only, just to support the motion. Okay, and the transmission of motion is available, is possible. So you have to see in your surroundings what these type of things are available with you. Then fluid link. So you have to identify in your surrounding where hydraulic presses or jacks or hydraulic brakes are used, and you can name a few, one or two at least. So you have to understand where these type of machineries are available. So now we are moving ahead just to discuss the discrete and continuous system. As the name suggests that discrete is actually which has certain time lapses, time gaps to be performed in between, and a continuous system is that system which been performed in a continuous manner without any breaks, without any splitting of the time frames. So discrete system, again, state changes occur at isolated points in time called events, and continuous systems, if we try to identify a definition, state changes may occur continuously over time, like flow of fluids and fluid-like materials. temperature changes, chemical operations, and biological processes. So all these can be referred to as the continuous system. An example of simple continuous system is like filling a tank smoothly over a period of time. And if you see that there is a pump available, and that pump is filling the tank with continuous flow of liquid, then that can be considered as the continuous system, like this. So tank volume, if we say at the start of the time when we start the alarm clock, suppose, then it is 0. But if the continuous flow is there, the rate continuous is available to fill the tank, then after some time you can say the tank is filling like in a continuous manner. Okay, so this kind of systems where the event is not being broken with respect to time, and the continuous availability of the motion or continuous availability of you can say the output of that system is available, then that is known as continuous system. But with respect to that, if discrete central loop to empty is there, and we control loop is there to empty and refill a tank. So if we are having like, okay, first we will fill the tank up to 1/4 of the capacity, then we will empty it and then again refill up to the 1/4 of the capacity, like this. So if there is a system or automatic system that, okay, tank is never overflowed, and we have to, you can say, whenever the tank is filled up to a certain point, then we have to wait for tank to be emptied. And suppose there is a delay for 10 minutes to fill, then in that 10 minutes the tank level will go down, and again 10 minutes to fill that up. So you can say that these time lapses are for 10 minutes, 10 minutes to rise, 10 minutes to lower, and again 10 minutes. So this delay of 10 minutes gap is actually providing the discrete thing, actually providing the gaps, so that the, you can say, the continuous rise of tank level is not available, and you can see that the level of the tank cannot reach or cannot go beyond control. So that is the system, discrete system. Another thing which we want to focus on a rigid and elastic body, but before we go ahead, again I am giving you one task to identify in your neighborhood what are the discrete and continuous systems available to you in your neighborhood, in your surroundings, and how you can judge and how you can comment that these are discrete or these are continuous. Kindly look into your, you can say, might be you are having a motor, you are having a pump to lift the water so that it can fill the tank on your roof. So you are using that continuously per day. So where or up to what time it is continuous, and after that time it is discontinued. So you have to see that whether the system is continuous or discrete. Okay, so we will be taking the rigid and elastic bodies in my next class. So I hope all of you have seen this, all of you are understanding. So in case of any problem, you can write to me, you can contact me directly, and I will be available, and I will be sorting out your problems as soon as possible after getting that. Okay, so thank you, thanks a lot. Start learning the things. Thank you. Let's do this.